Greg Larnard here, ESPN Chattanooga. We've got another edition here on the show talking to a future star of today. She's not a future star of tomorrow anymore. She is a star right now, and it's been building a little bit. If you've paid attention to softball in this area, specifically GPS softball, MTSU softball, you know the girl that I'm about to talk to. Joining us now is Ansley Blevins here on the program. And Ansley, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm back at home giving lessons. We just had a great season at MTSU and got around to see some of the GPS girls I used to play with at the state tournament. And I'm just happy to be back and teaching some young kids some softball and having my summer kind of to myself.
That's great. Yeah, can't complain about that. First and foremost, speaking of softball, you're a big-time softball player. We're going to get into your career at GPS. We're going to get into your career at MTSU. But before we get to that, tell us a little bit about your softball journey and how you got into the game of softball, who was an influence for you to get into it, and what other sports did you play or try when you were growing up?
So my main person I looked up to is my brother growing up, and he always played baseball and just different other sports. And my dad actually coached my brother's little league team growing up, so I was always at the field, and I knew that I just wanted to play softball. And my mom ended up being my first little rec league coach. And my mom's just really big. Both my parents are, but my mom specifically, she played volleyball in college, and she was a softball, basketball, volleyball star in high school. And I just wanted to be like her, and I wanted to do everything she did. So I just really got into sports because of her. Growing up, I played basketball, softball, and volleyball. And then by my freshman year of high school, after my freshman year of high school, I just played volleyball and softball.
Okay. And you did mention to me off the air that you are 6 foot tall. Obviously can't tell sitting down, but you are very tall. I'm sure you get that from your parents because your mommy, as you mentioned, was a big time big time volleyball player as well. Yeah, I assume your parents are pretty tall.
I really get it from my grandfather. He's 6'5", and that's my mom's dad, and so it just kind of passed along. And I think my mom's like 5'9". My dad's 6 foot, so I'm up there a little bit.
There we go. Okay, getting close to that up there. You are a native of Jasper, Tennessee. So tell us a little bit about how you ended up attending, or why you ended up attending GPS.
Again, my brother he started attending McCallie. His fourth grade teacher, which was also my fourth grade teacher, got him into going to private school, and her son actually went to Baylor. And so she kind of recommended Baylor or McCallie, and my brother ended up choosing McCallie. And so growing up, I just saw him in Chattanooga, loving McCallie school and loving private school. And I was just I have to go to GPS. There's no way. So anything else, I knew I was going to GPS. And then I went in the 6th grade, and I loved it. And I loved it ever since then. So my dad works in Chattanooga, so it was kind of easy for me to go there as well.
Nice. Ansley Blevins, again, our guest here on ESPN Chattanooga. So you've mentioned your brother a lot. How far are you guys in between, age wise? What's the age gap between y'all? How much older is he than you?
He's 4 years older than me. So a little bit too old to be able to hang out with each other's friends and things like that. But he's always been somebody that I've looked up to and seen how he's worked through life. And he's a hard worker. And so, yeah.
Nice. So while you were at GPS, you set a bunch of single season and career records there for home runs at GPS. Take us through your career there. And did you also play varsity volleyball while you were at GPS?
I did.
Okay.
So in the falls, I am playing volleyball. Love volleyball. I love it just as much as softball. It was so hard to let it go. But I had a bunch of different coaches in volleyball, and I met some of the biggest supporters that I have, even with softball through volleyball. Two of my volleyball coaches that I had in high school still reach out to me, still are commenting on my posts, or still telling me happy birthday, things like that. And so I just love volleyball at GPS. And then in the springtime, I would be playing softball. And my softball coach, her name is Susan Crinover, Coach Crinover, she was my coach since the 6th grade, since I was in at GPS. And we were kind of worried that she was going to retire before we got into high school. And then she ended up just finishing out with all of us. And so I played softball with her from 6th and 8th grade. In the 8th grade, I also played up on high school varsity. And so I started in right field on varsity in my 8th grade year. And then my freshman year, I started catching. So, yeah, I learned a lot from Coach Crownover. She's probably one of the biggest, she is the biggest influence that I've had in softball. She's put me in my place when I needed to be put in my place. She's stood up for me when I needed to be stood up for, just a bunch of different things. And she's taught me some hard lessons and the best lessons that I could have. And so she's the biggest influence that I've had. And I am so thankful to have gotten to get to know her through GPS. And yeah.
That's awesome. Again, Ansley Blevins hanging with us here on ESPN Chattanooga, kind of get a chance to know her softball story or sports story. So pretty incredible, pretty talented from a younger age, and getting an opportunity to play a varsity sport there as an 8th grader is pretty cool. Now, did you grow up playing catcher, or where was your natural position, or did you sort of just grow into catching when you got to GPS?
So I used to play second base. Second base was like my position growing up. I loved it. Whatever, we're switching travel ball teams. I'm playing second base here, playing second base on another team. And then my dad and a couple of his friends that we had met through the softball community, we started a new travel ball team. Well, the catcher who was supposed to be on our team either got hurt or left the team or something weird like that. And we didn't have a catcher. And I was like, well, I'll do it. And I was like 10. And well, I mean, I'll get behind there because, you know, you're still trying to figure out how to not be afraid of the ball that age. And so I was like, I'll go back there. Like it could be fun, whatever. Yeah. And ever since then, I just loved it. I love being behind the plate. I love being able to communicate with everybody in the field, learn how to have different relationships with your different pitchers to help them work through things. And so it was just like it's really a perfect position for me and like my personality. And so I just stuck with it. And then like my 8th grade year when I played up, they had a great catcher that actually went and played at Chat State. Her name's Haley Smith, and she taught me a lot of stuff. And just by watching her, I gained a lot of things. And so I just, once she left, she graduated, and then I started catching at GPS.
So did you start catching your 9th grade year, or was it 10th grade, 11th grade before you got a chance to catch?
I started catching my freshman year.
Okay, so 9th grade, you got an opportunity to catch. So you caught there for 4 years.
Yeah,
wow.
I did.
Okay, that's awesome. And so let's talk a little bit about the recruitment process. When did you make that decision and that determination of, hey, I'm going to go with softball instead of volleyball? You mentioned earlier that it was hard for you to let go of volleyball. When did you make that determination, and how did you make that determination?
So my sophomore year of high school, I was playing travel volleyball and then also travel softball. And I loved travel volleyball. It was so fun. I got to experience a lot of new different things. That was the first time I ever done it. I'd only just played with my schools. And I was just kind of at the nitty gritty. I was like, okay, so I either am going to attack volleyball now, like I need to put all my effort into volleyball, or I just stay on the track with softball, because I've been playing travel ball since the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. And I was like, okay, the most important thing for me is college, and where do I want to go to college for this? Do I want to go to a school? I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in my degree and everything. Yeah. And so I just kind of knew that if I stayed with softball, I was going to be able to get the opportunity to have scholarship through softball. And I was getting contact from colleges and volleyball, but they were D3, and not that that's bad. I have lots of friends that I was going to
say, come on, I played D3 baseball. There ain't nothing wrong with D3.
No, there's nothing wrong. And I think, side note, I think that anybody that thinks that just doesn't know what they're talking about, because going and playing in college is such an accomplishment within itself. It doesn't matter where you're going. The best D3 team can be with the best D1 team. Like that's, we're all just athletes. But anyways, and so I knew that I had worked so hard and my parents had paid so much money. I wanted to go to school on scholarship. And that's when I really kind of decided, all right, I'm going to stick with softball, because I know that if I continue and I keep working hard, like that's going to be a good outcome for me. And so that's whenever I finally decided. But I continued to play volleyball throughout my senior year, just in school. Yeah. And that was kind of my time to, softball's fun, but sometimes you have to be serious. But volleyball was always my time to just be able to have fun and just get on the court and just, but yeah, it was about my sophomore years when I decided. And And then my junior year, I verbally committed to MTSU before I signed my senior year.
Wow, that's awesome. Again, Ansley Blevins, our guest here on ESPN Chattanooga. So what was the recruitment process like? Was it, you had an opportunity to speak to a lot of different schools, you went and visited a lot of different places, or was it pretty cut and dry that, hey, MTSU showed interest, they were willing to give me a scholarship, I want to kind of stay in Tennessee, I'm going there?
So COVID really had a big impact on especially my class in recruiting. And when COVID first started, it was still, in its prime, a bunch of different colleges were reaching out, but you couldn't really, go on visits and things like that. And we really didn't know how COVID was going to affect scholarships because of people getting fifth years and everything like that. And I had, like 11 or 12 colleges reach out that I was talking to. But MTSU really won me over, and when they offered me, I really didn't want to pass up on it and not somehow have like a better, or I didn't want to wait around to try to see if something else could happen, because I love MTSU. I love the coaches. My best friend was going to go there with me. She's one of my roommates and plays softball there. It's close to home. My grandparents can come watch. I'm going to get an opportunity to start. Like, I'm going to be able to earn a position if I can. And it just really fell in like all the boxes, and I just loved everything about it. And so whenever they offered me, I took about a week and I was like, yeah, I'm ready to go and say yes. So that's whenever I.
Awesome. So talk to us a little bit about the differences between high school softball compared to college softball. You just finished your first season there at MTSU. So what, in your estimation, was the biggest difference from high school softball GPS to your first year at MTSU?
Okay. My biggest thing was hitting, right? So I knew that going in that I'm a good hitter, and I've always known that I'm a good hitter, but I knew it was going to be difficult, and I knew it was going to be a challenge because I went to the state tournament recently, this past couple of weeks ago to watch. Yes. And I was just walking around looking at all like the pitching and stuff, and looking at, the seniors from other schools that were really good whenever I was there. And I was just thinking, wow, this is so much different than high school. I was thinking I could hit off anybody here. Like, it wouldn't, because in high school you always have your rivals that are really, really good and everything. But then you get to college and everyone can pitch good. Everyone has great movement, good spin, decent speed. And so hitting was definitely the most difficult part of transitioning. But, I had good coaches and good teammates that helped keep me in it. The beginning of the year was really rocky for me, just trying to find, like, the fall was good. But then once we got into spring, I put so much pressure on myself to hit the ball, like, do good, hit the ball, this, that, and the other. And I ended up just digging myself into a hole. And I had good teammates and good coaches that were there to help get me out of it. And that's whenever, probably about the last 2 months of the season, was when I really started feeling confident at the plate. I knew that, I might strike out or I might pop up, but like, I'm going to get another chance. And I always tell myself, and this is what I tell like my little kids too, is give yourself an opportunity to go 1 for 3 at the plate. Which means, like, if I could strike out twice. I could strike out looking, I could strike out swinging, but don't get down on myself, because there's always another opportunity, and you're hitting 333, and that's good. So, like, that's my goal, to get a hit at least one game. But obviously, you try to get more.
Of course.
So hitting was definitely the biggest change. But I would say, I was pretty well prepared for defensive wise, catching. I just love catching, and it just, not trying to sound, but it just kind of came naturally to me, and I just love being behind the plate, and it's just really easy to do things that you love. So.
Well, that's the thing. You didn't even catch your first year. You played first base, you were telling me, right? Didn't you play mostly first base?
Yes, I did. And I do love first base a lot. And I am well used at first base. I can stretch real high, stretch real out. So we got some pretty big outs this year that were super cool, because I mean, I'm like almost doing the splits, trying to catch the ball, getting the outs, and my whole team gets so hyped whenever we make big plays, or just not even big plays. We get hyped for routine good plays
Making
that
any
might be
plays.
close. And so they're always telling me, like, people are coming out the dugout like, good stretch, good this, good that, way to pick me up, like things like that. And it's really nice to like be able to recognize each other's accomplishments, because I feel like sometimes in the heat of the moment, like, people forget, things like that. And so we're always telling each other, like, great pitch, or way to get that out, or way to catch that ball out there, good double play, just things like that, just to help keep us in the game and supporting each other.
Yeah, a playmate is a playmate, and it's always important to pick each other up. That's something I'm trying to instill in my 11-year-old kids that I coach as well. It's always about that positive self-talk, picking each other up, and just celebrating each other in the moments and the plays that everybody makes. Again, Ansley Blevins is hanging out with us here on ESPN Chattanooga. Let's talk about this first year at MTSU, because the year before you weren't there. You guys won 19 games, and then you get there. I'm not saying this is solely on you, although you probably had a big part in it, that you guys win a program record 42 games. Everybody just about and their moms picked you to finish last in the conference tournament, or then in the conference standings. Everybody picked North Texas to win the conference. That didn't happen. You guys win the conference. You go on, win the conference tournament. Talk to me about the season. How were you guys able to sort of, I guess, brush off the naysayers and go ahead and just get out there and play softball and have as much success as you guys had when everybody thought you weren't going to have success?
At the beginning of the year, when Coach Breeden told us the rankings, it kind of lit a fire under us, because we were like, all right, well, we actually had, I don't remember the exact number, but we pretty much had a whole new team. Like, we had some core players from last year, but all of us were pretty much new and all working with each other. And I was new as well, so this was all brand new to me. So I can't imagine what it felt like to be like a junior or a senior there. But it kind of lit a fire under us, and we were like, all right, well, we got to show them. And so we just worked really hard. But the main thing that we did that I think is the most that I've ever been like this on a team was we just like to have a lot of fun. Even when we were down, we made sure we were staying up in energy. And something that our coach Breeden, he always says is we want to be the team with the most energy on the field. Like, we might not have the most talent, we might not have the most whatever, yada, 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 but we can play with anybody because we have the most energy on the field and we want it the most. And so, like, we came in, lit a fire underneath us. We had fun. We didn't let, bigger losses get us down. And when we went into that conference tournament, we knew that. So we actually were playing in the play-in game. So if we had lost the first game, we were done. And we were playing La Tech, which was where the conference tournament was being held. So we were playing on their home field. And we had beaten them in our series on a doubleheader, but then we lost the last day. And so we were kind of ready for revenge, because we knew we should have, gotten the sweep. And we went in and we just did the dang thing, and we beat them. And we were like, all right, we're not stopping now. And so we kept going. And then we kept winning. We beat our rival WKU. And that was really big, because we had not struggled, but we had struggled against playing them to get a win out of our series, which we did. But we beat up on them in the conference tournament, and that gave us some more energy, some more hype. And we're like, all right, we're not stopping now. Like, we're winning this thing. We're not going to go through all these games, our hard work, whatever, and not win. So we played our first game in North Texas, and we lost to them. It was kind of a heartbreaker, but we came back the next day, won a game, and we're like, all right, we have to win now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. We've come this far, and we're not going home without a trophy. And we wanted to do it for each other. Our fifth-year Gretchen, she came back and pitched with us this year. She was really originally supposed to be a GA. She came back and pitched, and she just held the fort down and did such an amazing job. And we got the win. And I wanted it for her so bad. I wanted this win for her so bad, especially after like the seasons prior, whenever they hadn't won as much or had that good of a time. And she told me that she's so thankful that she came back this year, because her softball career ended on such a high note because last year she didn't even want to play anymore because of how bad the season was. And so
Wow.
we just have a lot of energy, have a lot of fun. And then we have so many people on other teams, on random teams we don't even know, talk about how fun it is to watch us. We had umpires in the field telling us that they've never umpired or they've never umped a game where people have been so excited and they love watching us. They love being on the field with us. And so our main thing this year was get the job done, have more energy, and just have fun. And I feel like that's something that's kind of a cliche is you need to have fun whenever you're playing. But in reality, like I genuinely believe that's why we beat all the teams that we beat to, win our championship, beat Alabama, go so far in the regionals and things like that. And so, yeah.
Wow. Again, Ansley Blevins hanging with us here on ESPN Chattanooga, and that's where I was going to go next. You won the conference tournament. You guys are tournament champions, and when you're talking about this and infusing the energy, it just seems like you guys, this new group of players, as you mentioned, there was a lot of you guys that really helped breathe new life into this program and kind of revitalized it. So that's great. A little youth movement, never hurt anybody. And then you guys go to the regional. You have to go to Tuscaloosa. What was it like going into that regional and sort of, again, having that underdog mentality? You guys have had it all season, so it wasn't anything new to you guys. But talk to me about that incredible run, obviously, where you cruised past, who'd you guys, Central Arkansas, I believe it was, number 23, Central Arkansas, and then getting an opportunity to avenge a loss against Alabama and then losing to them narrowly in the finals.
The main thing that we were all thinking as a team going into the regionals was, and this might sound bad to other people, but it didn't. Like that's it. We thought people didn't even think we were supposed to be here, so let's just show them what we got. Like we don't have anything to lose. Everyone thought that MTSU wouldn't make it here. We're having people on Twitter dogging us saying they don't deserve to be there. They don't deserve to win. Like. They're going to get run rule, this, that, and other. So it just lit a fire in us. I'm like, all right, well, let's show everybody what we got. And so first game, Central Arkansas, we were just on fire. No one was like, none of their team was scoring. I don't know. I think we allowed one person to third base one time.
Yeah.
But we just went through, did the job. Gretchen pitched us a great game. And then we didn't even realize they were ranked. We got out of that game after beating them 8-0, run rolling them. And we didn't realize that they were ranked 23. And so
it didn't matter.
I think that just kind of shows that we, even though we're playing these higher ranked or bigger teams, that didn't matter to us. Like we were going to go out and conquer and do our jobs. And if it's meant to be, it's going to work out. And that's what happened with Central Arkansas. Then when we played Alabama, it got a little rocky. We were back and forth with them, and then we had one bad inning, and that kind of put the game down the drain. But we didn't let that stop us. We're like, all right, we gotta come back. We gotta come back and show them. And so then we beat Central Arkansas again. We beat them 3-0 that time, so we held them to no runs the entire tournament. We played them, got to the regionals, and we were really excited because playing in a crowd like that, when we played Alabama the first game, I'm not gonna lie, like as a freshman, that was kind of overwhelming, having 4,000 people screaming at you, and so the pressure kind of gets to you a little bit. But then my coach during that game, which it applied to the next time we beat the next game when we beat Alabama, he was like, none of these people on the outside of those fences can play this game like y'all can. He was like, when you're in between these lines, that's all you need to be worrying about. It's the same, it's the same footage as our field. The bases are still 60 feet apart, this, that, and the other. He was like, it's just softball, and y'all been playing it this whole year. So don't let all them people yelling at you worry, make. And so once he said that, I kind of like relaxed in the game, and I was like, all right, like it's okay, like it's all right. And then we played them again. We just all kept that same mentality from the beginning. And, we just went to work. And I think that was probably the funnest game that we had played all year, was seeing how loud their crowd was. And then as soon as we beat them, there was nothing. Nobody was saying anything. Nobody was cheering. And it's like we shut them down. And so we were super excited for the next game. And like one of the parents in the crowd told my mom, like, that's the most important game that they'll never forget, but they might want to forget this next one, talking about how they thought that they were going to run ruleless or something like that. And that game was just neck and neck, and our pitchers did awesome. And just top of seventh, it's kind of one of those games where the next person that scores is going to win it no matter what. And that's happened to us multiple times this year when we've gotten the W. So it was tough. In the bottom of the seventh, there was 2 outs and I was up to bat, and I was so like, I wasn't nervous, but I was like, I just don't want to get out for the last out. Like, I don't want
to be the last out.
And I finally got a hit in that game, and I hit a ball to right field and got a single. But no, that was kind of overwhelming. But then we lost, but we were so proud of ourselves. Like, we showed everybody, we kind of showed the world that just because you're a mid-major, or which we hate the term mid-major, but just because you're a mid-major or you're not at a big school or a big ranked team, or you don't get to have all these luxuries of, playing in the SEC, like, we can still play with you and you can still get beat by teams that aren't ranked and things like that. So I think it just showed that we had a really big heart, and the amount of Alabama fans that have stopped us or commented to us at Twitter talking about how fun we are to play, how fun of a game it was. Like, we just made the energy 10 times better. We had a bunch of people saying, well, I'm an Alabama fan, but now I'm an MTSU fan. Like, we're gonna come watch y'all and things like that. It was just a lot, and it was really good exposure for Middle Tennessee in our program, and I hope that a lot of people are more interested in coming, because I think that, growing up through travel ball, like, your goal is to play for Alabama or play for Oklahoma and things like that. And that's a great goal to have. But sometimes, like, it's just not obtainable with recruiting and things like that. There can only be so many kids. And going to, smaller schools or mid-majors is still a great opportunity for you to play your sport. And you can still play some of the best ball that everybody, that's higher than you is still playing.
Yeah. It's funny you say that about Alabama. I bet you those fans would not have been saying the same thing if they had lost that game to you guys 1-0, and then you guys were going to the Super Regionals. I bet they wouldn't have said anything about that and how much fun it was to play you, because they would have been like, this was a nightmare. We never want to play MTSU again because they beat us. Again, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, that's probably what would happen. What would have happened, which, I mean, that would have been fine too, because
look, they don't have to come watch us play or anything like that if we got a chance to beat them. But again, we're hanging with Ansley Blevins here on ESPN Chattanooga. All right, I got 2 more quick questions for you before I let you go. First of all, what's your major? What are you going to school for? What do you want to do, or what do you think you want to do after college and after your softball days are done? Or do you want to try to play professional softball, because I know they have some pro leagues?
I haven't really thought about professional softball. I just kind of always growing up thought played throughout high school, playing college, and then my life will kind of start from there. Now I'm in school I'm going to enter the sonography program, which is to be an ultrasound technician. So that's my goal for right now. It might change, but I'm super excited for that, and I'm really interested. And that's my major.
That's great. And my last one for you is, if you were say, obviously, I hope there's a lot of young softball players that are watching this video and this conversation and seeing the energy and the enthusiasm and the love that you have for the game of softball. So tell me a little bit about, if you were talking to a group of young softball players, what is one piece of advice that you would give them?
Just to remember to have fun, and that it is a game. And sometimes it can feel like the world of softball is on your shoulders at an at-bat, but you're going to have hundreds of more at-bats. You're going to have hundreds of more opportunities to field a ball. So don't get down too much. And like I said before about give yourself a chance to go 1 for 3, is to don't get down about all the things that you did wrong. Just know that you can always improve and get better and pick yourself back up, because you could strike out in the 2nd and 4th inning but hit the game-winning home run in the 7th, and you'd feel on top of the world. So softball is a game of up and downs and failure, but just to know, like, you can't celebrate and be so happy and be on top of the world if you've never felt the pain of losing or not pulling through. So just to know that the successes is worth the failures whenever you do succeed. And yeah.
Awesome. Ansley Blevins has been our guest here on ESPN Chattanooga. She's our future star of tomorrow, today, the whole thing. She's been fantastic, a former GPS softball player. And if you're in that area up in Murfreesboro, go check out MTSU softball next season. It's certainly going to be a good time. I know they're going to bring the excitement, the energy, the vibes, the swagger, all that good stuff. So, Ansley, it's been great to get a chance to chat with you. Appreciate you being here, and best of luck in softball in the next couple of years. Enjoy it. And in life as well.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.